Hello and welcome to Reasonable. In today's video, we will explore 3 different reasons why a future military confrontation between the US and China may be inevitable. As China's presence on the world stage continues to expand, accompanied by a significant annual increase in military spending and escalating geopolitical tensions, many people have been wondering if a war between the United States and China is unavoidable in the long term. In fact, China's Foreign Minister Qin Gang's recently warned that the US and China are hurtling toward inevitable confrontation and conflict unless Washington changes course. While this statement could be perceived as strategic rhetoric, it serves as a clear signal of escalating tensions between the two nations. Another example is 4-star General Mike Minihan, who heads the Air Force's Air Mobility Command and warned his troops of war with China in an internal memo with the following message. My gut tells me we will fight in 2025. I hope I am wrong. Chinese President Xi Jinping secured his 3rd term and set his war council in October 2022. Taiwan's presidential elections are in 2024 and will offer Xi a reason. The United States presidential elections are in 2024 and will offer China a distracted America. Xi's team, reason, and opportunity are all aligned for 2025. Now, let's explore the fundamental reasons for this potential future conflict and evaluate its likelihood based on the information currently at our disposal. A key factor contributing to a potential future conflict is the economic dynamics between the US and China. It has become common knowledge that the trade relationship between the US and China is a double-edged sword. On one hand, both nations benefit from the exchange of goods and services, fostering economic growth for both countries. On the other, trade imbalances and accusations of unfair practices and intellectual property theft contribute to a growing friction between both nations. China plays a pivotal role in global supply chains, with the U.S. relying significantly on the nation for a diverse range of products and resources. This includes rare earth metals, active pharmaceutical ingredients, electronics, textiles, components essential to numerous industries and all kinds of consumer goods. The U.S., on the other hand, exports agricultural products such as soybeans and grains, machinery and equipment, automobiles, commercial aircraft, and a range of technology products. Additionally, financial, educational, and entertainment services contribute significantly to the overall portfolio of U.S. exports to China. That being said, it is commonly known that the United States has consistently experienced a huge trade deficit with China. In simple terms, this means that the value of the goods and services the United States buys from China is and has been much greater than the value of what the United States sells to China. Let's take a look at a chart from the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis. This chart shows the trade deficit between 2021 and 2023. While the trade deficit has been decreasing since about 1.5 years, the current deficit is around $60 billion per month, which is still a huge number. And here's what the yearly deficit looks like on a longer time frame. As you can see, the trade deficit has significantly increased throughout the years, almost reaching $1 trillion in 2022. Several factors contribute to this trade deficit, including the lower cost of manufacturing in China, coupled with persistent allegations of currency manipulation. The trade deficit and currency manipulation issue has been a point of ongoing discussion and concern in economic and political circles. And it is widely known that this exact issue was a focal point of Donald Trump's presidential campaign and administration. President Trump imposed 10 to 25% tariffs on various Chinese goods, including electronics, machinery, steel, and aluminum. These tariffs were intended to reduce the trade imbalance and address what the Trump administration perceived as unfair trade practices by China. However, as tensions escalated, China retaliated with its own tariffs on U.S. goods. While the Trump administration argued that these measures were necessary for protecting American interests, critics highlighted the adverse effects of the trade war, citing disruptions to global supply chains, heightened costs for businesses and consumers, and increased potential for conflict. Another relevant factor of the economic dynamics between both nations is the fact that China holds a substantial portion of U.S. debt, playing a pivotal role in financing American government spending. Latest estimates suggest China holds about $859 billion in U.S. debt. making it the second biggest holder of U.S. debt after Japan. By owning a substantial portion of U.S. debt, China has essentially become a major creditor, and in times of conflict, China could initiate a sell-off of U.S. bonds, potentially leading to increased interest rates and financial instability. In summary, it's safe to say that the economic dynamics between the United States and China are complex, and with no clear political solution to the trade deficit, as well as a range of other issues, the possibility of heightened tensions looms on the horizon. Now let's move on to another aspect that could trigger a military conflict between the U.S. and China: geopolitical tensions. The South China Sea disputes and Taiwan's geopolitical sensitivity create a volatile environment where conflicts could escalate between the U.S. and China. The U.S. advocates for open navigation, challenging China's historical assertions. This territorial friction, coupled with China's increasing militarization of the region and ambitions of reunification with Taiwan, heightens the risk of a military confrontation. The roots of the Taiwan issue trace back to the Chinese Civil War, where the nationalist Kuomintang retreated to the island after losing to the Communist Party on the mainland. In short, since then, Taiwan has operated as a separate political entity with its own government, military, and constitution. China's assertion of sovereignty over Taiwan, guided by the One China policy, has been an enduring source of tension between the U.S. and China. In its geopolitical context, the risk of a military confrontation is considerable. Should China forcefully pursue reunification with Taiwan, the U.S. commitment to Taiwan's security could eventually trigger a direct military confrontation and potentially a broader regional war. And if that weren't enough to contend with, there's also the ever-present danger of conflict involving North Korea, which could also escalate into a war with China. If a war were to break out involving North Korea, the United States and China could find themselves in direct or indirect confrontation, just as we've witnessed in the Korean War in the 50s. And as there is no diplomatic solution in sight between North Korea and South Korea, coupled with the ever-present threat of North Korea's nuclear armament, tensions could flare up at any given time. Lastly, the complex dynamics between Japan and China further contribute to the difficult geopolitical landscape. One of the major points of contention between Japan and China has been territorial disputes over islands in the East China Sea. Both countries claim sovereignty over these uninhabited islands, leading to tensions. And historical grievances stemming from Japan's actions during World War II have also been a significant source of friction between Japan and China. These historical issues involve Japan's occupation of parts of China during the war and the conduct of Japanese forces, including incidents such as the Nanking Massacre. The legacy of these events continues to complicate diplomatic relations, as historical narratives differ between the two nations. In summary, multiple ongoing geopolitical issues with no clear diplomatic solution in sight could potentially trigger a military confrontation between the U.S. and China. Now, let's move on to the third and final reason that might contribute to a future military conflict between the United States and China: rapid advancements in technology. The development of AI holds profound implications for U.S.-China military relations. As both nations strive for AI supremacy, the strategic landscape undergoes a significant shift. The potential of AI for military strategies, autonomous systems, and rapid decision-making creates a race for superiority, impacting the current dynamics of deterrence. In other words, the pursuit of advanced AI-driven military capabilities could trigger an arms race and reshape the cybersecurity landscape. Future AI military breakthroughs could redefine the balance between the U.S. and China. AI-driven strategic planning, coupled with real-time data analysis, autonomous drone swarms, precision-guided AI weaponry, and advanced cyber warfare capabilities, could totally reshape battlefield dynamics. The nation that successfully integrates these technologies for seamless coordination and decision-making may secure a significant advantage in future military conflicts, possibly leading to more assertive and expeditious decisions in the context of warfare. However, despite its potential, the full impact of a breakthrough in AI militarization remains unclear since it is considered a black box event. In conclusion, the future of U.S.-China relations remains uncertain, with a delicate balance between cooperation and competition. The combination of geopolitical tensions, economic forces, and rapid technological advancements could very easily escalate into a military confrontation between the US and China. While estimating the likelihood of this occurrence is challenging, countless politicians, think tanks, and influential figures concur that the potential for such an event is undeniably substantial. That being said, there are also factors that may avert such a catastrophic scenario. Beyond the theoretical capacity for mutual destruction, both nations possess the potential for so-called mutual economic destruction. This economic interdependence not only underscores their shared interests, but also hints at a binding connection that could serve as a deterrent to the escalation of conflict. And recently, President Joe Biden met with President Xi Jinping at the White House, where both leaders agreed to restart military communication and collaborate on addressing the issue of fentanyl exports from China to the United States. This rekindling of diplomatic ties and cooperation on critical issues provides hope for a peaceful relationship between the two nations. Thanks for watching this video. Let us know what you think of our analysis in the comment section, and make sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos and updates.